Welcome to our Watch App programming course from Edgionics. My name is Brett, and now we're going to continue looking at different UI elements we can put onto our scenes. So this is a fairly basic scene. We've got a label at the top. We've got some objects or buttons grouped inside of a group control. Let's look at a few of the other different elements that we have available. So if I scroll through, there's a table, image, and what if we want to have an image on the left and then followed by text? So to accomplish that, we know we're going to need a group control. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for that. Drag that down. I'll take this label, drag it into the group. Then I'll get the image here, drag that into the group. Now we need to do something with the sizing of everything. So I've got my attributes inspector open here, and I've got my image. Let's see, size to fit. We're going to do relative to container. Relative to container gives us the option to then do some sizing adjustments here. So I'm going to do something like a 0.3, and this label I am going to do a 0.7. So if I go ahead and do not size to fit content, but relative to container, I get my option to do sizing. I'll do a 0.7 there. Actually, you can see what happened here. I went into relative to container for height, and I actually decreased the height of my label, which is not what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is where I have fixed, I'm going to do relative to container and 0.7. Now that looks much better. And then I can add caption for the image. Before I do that though, I need an image. So what I'm going to do is click on our assets, and you can see I only have the app icon at this point, which we saw earlier when we clicked on the home button or went to the menu and selected the home button in our Watch app. We had this icon. What I'm going to do is bring up Finder, drag in an image. I've got this baseball. I'm just going to drop it in. Now that will be available to me. I'm going to give this an easier name to recall or type in, which is just going to be baseball. And back to our storyboard. So for this image, I can go ahead and select that particular one. If I do baseball, there it is, and we have our baseball. Obviously there's some sizing issues here. So what I'm going to do here is fixed, and I am going to size this up a little bit. So let's see what size we have for our label on height. We have a relative to container, and I can select our group. What I can do is fixed and just drag this up. So that should keep the ball from changing. And now I can go back on the height to this relative to container, and now it looks fine. And here for this label, I can just change this to baseball, for example. So now let's take a look at this inside of the simulator. All right, so here's our app now. We've got our label next to our image. So if we go ahead and remove image from our object library, we can look down to see there's a few different things we can choose. There's the new picker view, and we have our maps, movie. We have also a switch. I'm going to drag in this picker view. All right, so there's our picker, and the style here is just going to be list. And if I run the app now with the picker view, you can see here we're not getting anything on the picker view, but we can definitely click it. So what we need for the picker view is to actually add some data into it. So otherwise it's not going to do very much. But before we try anything like that, which we'll do a little bit later, I'm going to add a switch so we can see what that looks like. Now I can add it above, below any of these, or get into the groups. You can see I've got this vertical blue line now, so I can add into these groups, but I'm just going to put it below our baseball. So there's a switch, and the switch has a title. I can change it to on, off, and then I can go ahead and run this. And then here's our switch. So that is a quick look at a few of the elements that you can use on a Watch app, and then what they look like whenever you run your Watch app as well.